glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, GMS that rule well and that teach well, and peace and salutations to you fellow Akim, pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth, waking up the rest of the elect so Yahweh Shai can return and redeem and save us up on out of this wicked world, this wicked kingdom, man. Okay. Quick lesson, land backing off of Elder Manata Zakbak's video that he did just recently, man. On this guy, what's the title of this video? It's Epstein. The title of his video is Epstein Files. Americans have selective moral outrage and are sinful hypocrites. And I think his previous title to this video was I forgot. It was because he changed it. It was called something else. But you know, this title right here, you know, fits better. But I forgot what he called it, man. I mean, but yeah, the moral of the story. All right, I'm gonna let you listen to this guy, but the moral of the story is, hey, man. All right, you Americans are all miniature. Not every single American, but Epstein, he's not an outlier. Okay, there's Epsteins all throughout America. They just don't have the money, or the resources, or the power, or they're not in the position. All right, to do Epstein-like things, and Epstein ain't the only dude doing stuff like this, man. He's just the scapegoat by the elites. Okay, the elites are using him as a scapegoat, because the elites, all right, and these JEWs, these small hats, hey, the small hats, all right, the JEW, okay, people, all right, over there in the Middle East, all right, in the Holy Land right now, who say they are JEWs but are not and do lie, okay, their whole culture, their book, the Talmud, condones, all right, weird sexual acts to children, man. Okay? So Epstein ain't the only dude doing this. Okay, there's a whole group and population of people that their religion is about that, man. And they happen to be in the Holy Land right now. Okay, so Epstein ain't the only dude doing this, man. He's just a scapegoat. He's just a face that they use for this, man. Because, hey, the Lord is making Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the elites of this world of Esau, Edom, to release information like this, to release, to spoon feed you everyday people in America, in the world, the secrets of these wicked things that these Satanists and these devils, all right, do behind closed doors and in the dark and in secret. All right, the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, how are the secret things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things brought up, searched up? And that's by the will and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. The Lord is releasing and making these Edomites release, all right, information, all right, tell on each other, pointing the finger at each other and exposing themselves for the wicked shit that they do, for the devilish stuff that they do, because they're the devil, man. The so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. How come the Epstein Files, it's majority, I mean like 80, 90% white people, all right, doing these wicked things to these children, man? No, I haven't read the Epstein Files, but this information just comes to me, man. I'm not out there. I'm not literally like looking through the emails and all that. Hey, I'm on TikTok, YouTube, and I'm finding out this information, just by the living. I'm not searching this shit out. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shai searching, these wicked secret things that are being done by Esau out, all right, because we're in the time, all right, that knowledge shall increase, okay, and, the Lord is is lifting up the skirt, like Revelation says. You know, the Lord is lifting up the skirt on Babylon the Great, the whore of Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, and that symbolizes the secrets and the wicked things that have been done in the dark and still being done in the dark, being revealed and coming to the light. The things that happen in darkness, all right, shall be shouted out, all right, shouted out on the housetops, okay? And people are shouting, you know, talking about this. Mainstream media about the wickedness that's being done in darkness, you know. All right, these horrible things going on, happening to these children going missing and whatnot, and these people are finding out what specifically is happening to these children, and the men of the Lord, the men of Yahweh Shemi Shai, the men of GMS have been saying and telling you these things, prophesying and preaching and telling you these things openly on the internet, day in and day out, week in and week out. You know, they've been saying these things, telling you. All right, but you people don't want to believe them. You don't want to believe the men of Yahweh Shemi Shai. You want to believe, you only listen to, all right, to whatever the so-called white man tells you. All right. We've been telling you this shit's been going on. All right. For decades, the men of the Lord have been telling you that the so-called white man does this stuff to children. Okay. All right. In secret. But we've been telling you these secrets openly because the Lord has given us his secrets. The Lord says he will do nothing but reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. And we've been knowing these things. You people just haven't known because, hey, the Lord is not dealing with you. He's not giving his secrets to you, okay? Because, hey, you're not worthy. You're not meet for repentance, okay? And meet means worthy. And you people, all right, you don't consider Yahweh Shemi Shai. You don't consider the prophets of Yahweh Shemi Shai, the men of GMS, okay? Okay, you go down to Egypt, all right, America, or the so-called white man for help, okay? Because the so-called white man is a modern-day pharaoh, okay? And you listen to whatever he tells you. You regurgitate the things that the so-called white man says, okay? And not what the prophets of Yahweh Shemi Shai say, you know? You don't consider Yahweh Shemi Shai, okay? You think what, you know, because, hey, man, we've been telling you these things for decades, okay? But since it's not being told to you on mainstream media, Fox News, okay, you know, then it's a lie, you know, it's not credible, you know. Oh, you guys are just men out there on the streets, just talking shit, just angry black men shouting, you know. That's all y'all are. That's all we are to these everyday effing American people, man, you know. All right, but when the white man tells you something on his on Fox News, on his channel 12, you know, whatever he says is credible, you know, and these things are finally coming out, you know. And this guy right here, you know, he hits it on the nail, man, you know. And mainly, Epstein ain't the only dude doing this, man. He's just a front man, a fall guy, a face that they use, okay? All right, because, hey, man, they let this information come out. The elites of this world, the so-called white man, let this information come out. All right, little bit by little bit until it got big, you know, because they're testing the minds of you Americans to see what you will do. And hey, America, you know, the elites of America, all right, they already have you people, all right, controlled, okay, all right, defenseless. You Americans ain't gonna uprise to America, the American government, the American military. Hey, you Americans ain't doing nothing about ICE, all right. You may be shooting ICE or punching ICE, fighting against them, but ICE has full immunity. You people don't have no immunity. You people could get shot, put in prison. All right, I'm talking about you regular civilian Americans. You could be shot and put in prison and etc. for even thinking about, all right, touching these ICE agents. But these ICE agents have immunity to grape people, to grape women, to unalive people, to abuse people. All right? And that's why this information about the Epstein files is coming out. Because you Americans can't do shit about it, man. America has you people, but by the nutsack, All right? They have a knife against your neck. So that's why they're the elites of this world are saying and, giving you this information, saying and doing whatever the hell they want, because they know that you can't do nothing because they have the knife against your neck. And that's ICE, etc. These unjust laws that don't abide by the Constitution, So I'm going to let this guy talk. I'm going to bring out some precepts. I'm going to end it off.
Epstein's just minus the money. The truth is that most of you are Epstein's just minus the money. That's a fact. It's like when I was talking about Diddy last time, when the Diddy case was going on. This is the lifestyle and this is the behavior that your culture applauds and it endorses and it teaches you to aspire to. I mean, most people are not going to go through the Epstein files. Think about this. They're not going through the Epstein files to try to investigate, the possible architecture of private sector influence that he supposedly operated. They're not looking for that. What are they looking for? They're looking for salacious details about girls and about sex and about sadism and whatnot.
Exactly.
Sex parties. That's what you're doing. Scouring
the Epstein files. I let the information come to me. I'm not digging in the emails trying to, unredact these files and whatnot. And they're just motherfuckers, everyday civilians, that are tech savvy. They're unredacting, the redacted parts of the freaking Epstein files, going in depth, breaking it down, looking at, doing this and that, trying to find out every single information. I'm like, damn, dude. All right. Like, you really want to know specifically what happens to, to those kids and whatnot? Like, damn. I mean, we already know. Us men of Yahweh Shemi Ashai, we already know what happens, man. Okay? But we don't want to, I don't indulge in it. These people indulge in it, man. Like, finding out this crazy information and whatnot,
through trying to find the most lurid, the most lecherous, the most depraved information that you can, because you have an appetite for that.
People have an appetite for all those, was it adjectives, verbs, that kind of information, man. All right, outlandish, crazy, lewd information. Okay.
The truth is, you're not outraged, you're stimulated. Your whole culture is obsessed with this kind of thing.
We're outraged. We ain't stimulated, we're outraged, man. We get stimulated off of righteousness. Okay? You people are stimulated off of lewd, debaucherous, wicked stuff, for lack of better words. We're so outraged as men of Yahweh Shemi Ashai that, hey, we go week in and week out. All right, every day prophesying this truth, teaching and preaching to you people and proclaiming the downfall of this wicked kingdom and proclaiming righteousness. All right, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Ashai, to depart from this wicked ass world. Because look at it, man. Look at this fucking place, man. Okay? All right? Because us men of Yahweh Shemi Ashai, we found out, the things that are done in darkness by Yahweh Shemi Ashai, by the will and power of Yahweh Shemi Ashai, all right? Okay? Therefore, we go out there and proclaim this truth, all right? That we're that outraged, okay?
And your rich people, like I say, they're no different from you. They just have money. They just have the money and they have the power to live out what is actually, in reality, your collective fantasy in the West. And when one or two women who are victimized, one or two women who are victimized from the multitude of women who were involved, when victims come forward, because the fantasy actually has consequences on real people when you actually live it out in real life, the fantasy has victims. So when the victims come forward, then you express shock and you express outrage, which, if truth be told, is driven more by envy than by anything like a genuine conscience. And now you get to be the self-righteous mob, with your torches and pitchforks, storming the palace of the debauched aristocracy, whose lives and whose lifestyles you wish you had, but you don't have. And that's what makes you angry. I mean, be serious. How many music videos, think about this, how many music videos have you seen that are not set in a mansion or by a pool or on an island where you have some male performer who's absolutely submerged in an ocean of scantily clad women who are framed in that video as party favors? No, you're hypocrites. You're hypocrites. You approve of that fantasy, you promote that fantasy, and you know perfectly well that the rich can and do live out this fantasy in real life, and it's all completely approved of, and it's all completely encouraged and aspired to in popular culture, because your popular culture is continuously in puberty. I said your popular culture is a teenage boy. No, Epstein came from your culture. Clinton came from your culture. Musk, Gates, Summers, whoever else. Yes, everybody knew what Epstein was doing. No question about it. Of course they knew what he was doing. They were doing it too. And they still are. None of these people needed Jeffrey Epstein to provide this kind of thing for them. He was just one of their own, doing what they all do, and living out your collective Western...
Who's he talking about? All these elites that are not, that are named in the Epstein files, and also that are not named in the Epstein files, okay? All right? The brother, the North Carolina brother, he posted some pictures. He posted a picture saying, I forgot who. She said, if all the people, I forgot who it was, but she mentioned who the woman was, but she mentioned that if, let me see, it's right here. Is it my subscriptions? Give me a second, Akim. Give me a moment. Brother from North Carolina. Hold on.
I know I was gonna go get his lick back.
Too. Yeah, this picture. All right. Pam Bundy says that if we all prosecute everyone in the Epstein files, the whole system will collapse. Because you know why? Because all the high political people, this wicked ass system ruled by the so-called white man, the elites that are over this system, they're a part of the Epstein files. They're linked to the Epstein files, or they do stuff like this. They do satanic rituals, okay, to children, okay. They all do it, man, because they work on the left-hand side. They do left-hand magic, wicked magic, okay. And as Aleister Crowley says, let's see, Aleister Crowley. Highest. Oh, they didn't want to. It they're hiding the information, man. But he said, I don't want to go too deep or make this video too long, but Aleister Crowley said that one of the highest form of magic is going up, doing backdoor sex with a child. You know, that's what this man says. You know, and is this a black man? Is this a Latino man? No. Out of all the people on earth, he's a white man. Okay? It's always a white man doing this wicked ass shit around the world, man. You know? You know? And hey, that's what these elites of this world do. That run the whole system of the world. That's what they do behind closed doors. You know? That's how they get their power. By doing wicked things. Because, hey, their God that they pray to is Satan himself. You know? And these Edomites, the elites of Esau, Edom, the so-called white men, are the seed of Satan, the serpent's seed that the Bible talks about. Okay? That's why the system will collapse if they get prosecuted. You know, they never will get prosecuted because the ones that do the prosecuting are part of that same damn system doing the same shit that Epstein is doing. And men and women like them, you know? Doing this wicked ass satanic shit. They're all Satanists, man. All of them. Okay?
Degenerate fantasy. That's a fact. I've talked about this before. We all know you're like this. Everyone in the world knows that you're like this. You can act shocked. You can act disgusted as much as you want. But no one believes you. No one believes you who knows anything at all about your culture, who knows anything at all about your history, and who knows anything at all from their direct experience of your character. You were like this in every country. You were like this in every country that you invaded and that you colonized. You were like this on your plantations. Yes, you lived out your fantasy, your Epsteinian fantasy with African women on your plantations. I said the founding fathers of your country are the original Epstein list. So what are you talking about? You lived out your fantasy in Congo. You lived out your fantasy in Kenya, in Namibia, in Algeria, in the Philippines.
Throughout the years and still is and will continue on doing it until the Lord Yahushua returns. Okay? The Lord is the one. Yahushua is the one that's going to end all the effing wickedness in this world, man. Sirach 13:23, it says, when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look, what he saith, they extol it to the clouds. Okay, you hear that? So when the so-called white man speaks and tells you this information, then you fucking blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you Americans, okay, all right, consider it. But when us prophets of Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai are out there on the street corners, tell you this information, you know, this is what you do. It says, but if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? You're like, who are these dudes? They don't know shit. They're just talking out the side of their neck. And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. So these people don't consider anything that we say just because we're not the so-called white man. All right? We're not Fox News. We don't have suits and ties on. But we're just regular, everyday, black, Latino, Native American men who takes care of our family. All right? But, hey, we're telling you the truth. But since we're regular, everyday people, men, you know, in the eyes of you people, you know, our words don't matter, you know, to you, everyday people, you know. Mark 6:4, it says, but Yahushua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country and among his own kind, his kin, and in his house. Okay. All right. You know, the way this is written in the King James, it sounds kind of backwards from what it actually means. Okay. Or opposite. But this scripture, when it says a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country, all right, and among his own kin and in his own house. This means, the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we have no honor amongst our people, amongst the people, in the same class, demographic, 9 to 5 people, middle class people, lower class people, all right, we have no honor. The prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, all right, well, the people like us, concerning like positions in America, in society, they don't consider what we're saying. We see people drive by, walk by the camp, and they're like, "What the fuck? Who the hell is this dude?" And they try to come by and condone us, all right, condemn us, and disprove what we're saying, but they can't, because they don't have the truth. All right, and then they get mad and say all manners of evil against us falsely, and they call us, they slander us because they can't disprove what we're saying, and then they go on. They don't try to join the camp. They don't try to, get right with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because their intention is to make us look false and disprove what we're saying, because back in their mind, they're like, how is this regular dude, black, Latino, Native American dude, telling me the truth? He can't have the truth. All right, because they're mad that that we have the truth. Deep down in the spirit, they're mad that we don't, that they're mad that we have the truth, man. All right, and they don't. It's as simple as that, man. And ultimately, it's because they hate Yahweh Shai. They hate the truth. They hate Yahweh Shai, and we have the spirit of Yahweh Shai within us. We're not Yahweh Shai, but we have the spirit of Yahweh Shai within us. Like Yahweh Shai said, if they hate you, note that they hated me. All right. They hate Yahweh Shai. Therefore they're going to hate us. Okay. And they don't hear what we're saying, but they hear what, Fox News says, So, hope this is edifying to the elect. Shalom.